Hey everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I want to start this video by reaching out to the Americans that are getting snow down in the southern states. And if you are one of those people that's down there and you're getting snow, I'm curious to know what you think of it. I saw a video recently of a woman who basically said, Canada, come down and get your snow. We have had quite a bit of it up where I live. It's been well, I shouldn't say it's been very cold. It's been extremely cold here. We had last week some very cold weather. We got down to like minus 35 degrees here. So bone chilling, needless to say, and animals, keep them inside where it's warm, because if we can't handle it outside, the animals shouldn't be outside. And I totally agree with that. Actually, I had an incident with my dog that I had to actually pick her up because her feet were so cold. Anyways, if you've got snow down there, I'd like to know what you think of it. Very unusual for places like Florida to be getting snow. So, totally different world out there these days. So, enough about the snow, enough about the cold. What are we going to be doing? I want to make some trinket trays that are gold and black. And I'm potentially looking at putting some lettering on them when I'm done. Anyway, let's talk about the colors I'm going to be using, sort of how I'm going to be doing this. It's going to be similar to the tray I did that I said for me, I can't do things on camera that are commission pieces as far as sort of the layout goes. So I have 4 molds here because I wanted to try different shapes out to see what was going to work best for, sort of what I'm intending to do. So I have a square, I have round, and I think I like this round one a bit better because it's got like more depth, I think, than this square one does as far as the coloring around the side. And I'm going to have to make sure I don't want any colors in here. I washed these all down so that they would be nice and clean. I have this tray. I'm just wondering, okay. I have that tray, and then I have the oval tray that we're going to use again. So I wanted different shapes to get, sort of a different ideas for what I'm, attempting to do. Now, like the other piece I did, the dog heart paw one, and I do have some dirt in there I'm going to have to clean up. What I want to do is on the outside of all of these, I want to do black. So I'm going to pour until I get up to the level of this top. We're going to let it cure up for a little while, 3 or 4 hours, maybe a day, depending on when I actually get things poured, and then we will do the gold over top of it. So what colors am I going to be using for this? Well, I am basically sticking with eye candy colors or products, if you will. But I am bringing in a couple of other things too. I want my black to be a pitch black. What I'm going to be using is the Eye Candy Ninja Black and some of the Let's Resin Dye Black because, like I said, I want this black. The other color, obviously, is the gold. I had originally thought just using the 14 karat nugget gold from Eye Candy, but thought, and I'm not sure about it just being that color. Yes, I want a gold with it. This has got some flakes in it, so it makes it really rich. I'm also going to use some of the zerrin in this. And this is a really pretty gold. It's got a really nice tone to it. And I just thought maybe the two of them together would be really practical. I'm also going to throw into the mix some of this Sunnyside Pure Sheen glitter. Now, I don't have, and I'm not sure. I'll have to think about that while I'm mixing up my resin, whether I want any glitter in with the black. I'm kind of thinking, well, if you're doing it with the gold, do you want to do it with the black? So I'll have to give some thought to that. That might be an idea, but I'm not sure I have a fine enough black glitter to put in. So I'll have to go looking. If I can find a fine enough one, I might do that. So that's what we're going to be doing. One of the things that I've been finding for myself anyway, when I've been mixing up my resin, again, been cold here. I'm in my basement. It gets cold down here. I've been mixing my resin by hand. I've also been heating my resin up in water. Again, it's in the cups, putting it into warm water. I've been doing that twice. So I've been obviously get my hot water, not silly hot, but hot enough. Putting my resin in, letting it sit for, a few minutes, taking the containers out, and then getting warm water again and putting them back in for a second go around, and then mixing them by hand. Again, because it's been so cold, I don't know if using my mixer is causing me issues with the bubbles. I know I have my de-bubble machine, but I just noticing way too many bubbles when I'm doing using my mixer, my ice-toyu. I don't know how to say. Here, we'll just show you. When I've been using my mixer, I've been getting a lot of bubbles. So to me, it just started making sense that maybe for the next little while, I just do it by hand. I'm going to go mix up the resin just for the black for now. I have no idea how much I'm going to need. I was thinking this one's going to need the most. And, oh, excuse me, I might end up having to make up 2 batches, but that's not a big deal. And when I come back, I'll let you know if I have found a glitter to use in the black, because that might be kind of nice to have a pop of glitter in that, but we'll have to wait and see if I've got the right stuff. I will be back. Well, I am ready to carry on. I've mixed up my resin. So what we're going to do is we're going to carefully peel this back so I can get to things. And I guess it really doesn't matter. I made up let's do this one. I want to do this one first. I made up 100 mil of this, and if I have to make up more, that's fair. I might actually make it up differently if I have to, and use a paste. I'm sure I have a black paste over there somewhere that I can use to make sure this is dark enough. So let's get pouring. And again, we just want to go up to the top of the lip, no further. And I guess I'm starting with this one because this one may take the most amount of this resin. I put quite a bit of the dye in, and a fair chunk of black. And I think what I'm actually going to end up having to do at some point is I'll probably buy a 25 gram, like the gold I showed you. I would like to maybe get one of the blacks in that size. And that's the one that's in the bottle. I think that's 25 grams, and I think you can get up to a 50 gram with eye candy. You'd have to go to the website, and you can use my link if you want to do that. But I think it's 50 is the largest they have. And I'm just going to stop for a moment. Yeah, I'm in camera. Someday, people, I will have it so that we can do this from overhead. But again, we'll just keep it the way it is for now, obviously. Because I figure as long as I keep my my arms and my hands out to the best of my ability, then at least you can see what I'm up to. It's not a secret, as it were. Okay, I'm gonna have to start to slow down soon, because I don't want it going over, right? We know what resin's like. Resin has a mind of its own, and it might not be such a big deal if I'm just below the line, because the gold's going to go over top of the black anyway. I don't want the black over top of the line. And I'll come back at some point and I'll either use my lighter on this. Oh, yeah, by the way, lighter. Got nothing to do with glitter, but, I got thinking about it. I did add glitter to this, and when we get to a moment when I can show you, I'll show you the glitter. And I almost think the glitter has a blue tinge, like a bluish to it, but it will work for what I want, and I'll clean that up later. So I feel like I'm just about got this where I want it. Okay, so we won't push the envelope on this at all. I don't want to do that and end up having regrets because it's gone over. So let's just cover that up, and we'll let it do some evaporating on its own, and I think we'll do this one next. I'll show you the glitter in a moment. I'm trying to think how best to do this. You know what? Let's do this the safe way. We know what it's like to do this. The other thing I want to mention to you is, with having warmed this up twice, the resin up twice, if you do that, you're going to want to work with it. You're not going to want to mix a whole bunch of different colors up, and you're going to want to work with it quickly, because it does start to set up, and I know from experience that it can be a bit of a challenge then. It's nice to only be using one color in this right now. Okay. And I think the other thing about using one color in this, if you can keep it going, I feel like you have less opportunity for air bubbles. Now I will admit that I have this cup that I'm pouring out of. I'm using part of it to the mold to sort of guide it, so I have more control. Every once in a while my hands shake, and having something to sort of put this against makes it easier for me. And I've got a big air bubble there. I'm gonna have to get rid of that. Get that out of there. But yeah, right at the side. Am I in? I'm good. Okay. A big air bubble there, and I'm thinking I don't want an air bubble. And I don't feel like I'm up high enough, so let's add some more to this. Again, it's a bit of a challenge to see it when you're doing it from above. And the other thing I find that I really got to watch is if I'm, filling it up in one space, that I don't fill it up too much that it overflows. It's a little bit of a challenge to get it to the right level. Maybe not for you. I should just speak for myself. Let's do it a little slower. I think I'm getting it close. Along this side, because we know it'll level itself out. I think I'm almost to where I need to be. Alrighty then, I'm going to stop there because I think I'm pretty much to where I want to be with this without, oops, got some resin on my table. Hadn't really thought about it seeping down the side there, did I? You know, yeah, as I pour it out, right, like, be careful. Don't, I'm looking at it one way and then tipping it the other way. Ready to see it float all over the place. Right. All right, I think I'm going to leave that one where it is too, because I think I'm pretty level now. Yeah, I think I'm pretty level. So now I need to bring these guys down. Hopefully I'm going to have enough. That'll be great if I have enough resin. Here, let's take one of these paper towels. We'll fold it in half and we'll get that over top of there. I did go over my pieces with masking tape because I could see some previous, whether it was ceramic resin or just old resin or whatnot. And there, I've got a piece in there now. Where is my tape? Okay. It's like, where do you start? Now, I'm going to make a recommendation here. I've got a couple of dots here in my tray because I didn't wipe the bottom of it. I'm going to let those sit, and I will use my masking tape to get those out once it's set. So get into the habit of wiping these if you're going to be using them. This is just a useful little tip. We're doing well. I wasn't sure, 100% sure I was going to have enough. But I do believe we're going to be okay. And maybe even have a little bit left over. I should really have my circle covered up so I don't get dust, and I'll have to blow that out a little bit. It gets so quiet when I'm concentrating. So I'm curious, when you're doing your art, do you listen to anything? Do you have music going? Do you listen to podcasts, other, YouTube channels that have guests on? I tend to listen to podcasts that are going on with other people. So I'm just curious to know, what do you do? Do you listen to anything, or do you just like absolute silence? And one of the things I do sometimes is I listen to classical music. I haven't done that in a very long time, but I do find classical music very uplifting, very just putting me into a zone sometimes. So it's kind of cool. And at Christmas, I crank up the Christmas songs and listen to them nonstop for about 2 weeks, and then go, and I'm done. But I'm just curious to know if you listen to anything, or if you rather just have silence. Now, depending on what your life is like, silence may be a golden thing. There are moments in my life where I value the tranquility of silence, and then there are other days when it's like I need noise. Pretty sure I got that one good. So let's just carefully open this up. I want to make sure I don't get my paper towel into that. Okay, I'm going to make a little bit of noise here for a second. So I'm going to show you what that was. A while ago, I bought this contraption. I don't know if I showed you. Anyways, I had been buying those air canisters that you use on computers to blow out dust. And I thought, well, why do I keep buying those when I can buy this unit and have it be rechargeable? I got it from Amazon. I don't remember the brand name. I'll have a look and, put the link in below. I just thought, you know what? I don't want to keep buying those air canisters. We have a hazard waste day here, and I can get rid of the canisters, twice a year, like as I use them up. I just thought, you know what? I'd kind of like to have something that's rechargeable. And I don't even know how I came across that, whether I'd seen it online or whether it was one of those I just, happened to be, cruising Amazon and saw it. But I thought, why not? Get something that's rechargeable. I'm wondering how carefully I can do this. Sugar plum fairies. See, I don't want it. One of the things I don't want is it climbing up the side. We know what resin can be like when it decides to start doing that. So very carefully. It'd be so much easier doing the gold. So I want to clean that up. Oh, there we go again. So because of the time of day when I'm pouring this, I'll probably wait until the next day, tomorrow. Add the gold. Just because I want this to set up for about, I'd say 4 or 5 hours. It's usually a good time. Now, I appreciate that this is setting up. Is that the way I wanted that? I appreciate that this is it will set up quicker because it's been warmed up. But I like to leave it at least 4 or 5 hours. think we can still do some more. My thumb is sticking to the side of that, or to the handle of that. Okay, I'm going to take my toothpick and I'm just going to run along the sides. I've got some air bubbles there. Or what I sense are air bubbles. I feel like almost feel like the side is off a little bit, if that makes any sense. But we still need a little bit more. I know that's not up near far enough. I almost wasn't, I thought, I may not have to keep them. Sugar plum fairies. Around for all of this, but I'm really not doing a good job on this one. It may be because it's getting a little thicker than or it's because of the way I'm pouring it in here. That could be part of my problem too now. Should be maybe pouring it the other way. But I definitely am getting it onto the sides there. Yeah, it almost feels like it's got some wobbles in the side of this. I'm sure I've used this before. It just feels like it's got a little bit of a wobble to it. Again, wipe the bottom of the container, your pour container off. So let's do it this way and see if we can't stop the resin from popping up the side of this. We're getting closer now to this being done. Yeah, we're almost there. We'll just put a little bit more in it. I have enough in this container, and then I'll find a use, as I usually do, for what's left in the other one. All right, I'm pretty sure I've got that exactly where I need it to be. If I put any more in that, I'm gonna end up with it flowing over. Okay, so let me just put that over there and it can drain. I'll clean up my mess. I'll find out something to do with the rest of this resin. And then we'll come back when I've got my gold mixed up and carry on with the next. I know as she continues to play with it. Yeah, it really feels like I've got lumps on the, like the container looks fine, but it's the feel that's kind of got my attention on that one. But anyway. Okay. I will let you go. We'll come back with the gold. Welcome back. I have got my gold mixed up now. It's very pretty too. It's going to be really nice when it gets poured in. I wanted to mention, because I didn't before I ended it last time, Recollections, and this color here is what I used in the black. So I just wanted to mention that because I totally forgot to mention that to you when I was doing the black. So I'm trying to decide what to pour. Now I do have these little cute little pot. I know they got nothing to do with the program here, but I'm going to pour these because they're very cute. And I thought it'd be really cool because my dog is black to have gold and black paw earrings. So I'm going to pour that first, very carefully actually. You know what I'll do? I'll do this again. So let me just, I know, absolutely nothing to do with the video, and that's fair, right? If only sometimes you could probably reach through people's videos and get them to stop doing what they're doing. But, you know, hey, it's all part of what we do, and sometimes entertainment. And I've got, it's so funny, the gold, the 14 karat nugget. Man, you open up those from eye candy and you get gold everywhere. Funny and cute all at the same time. So I'll just carefully pour these because with these being so intricate in whatnot, I want to get the resin pouring all around where it needs to go. And then I figure, yeah, I'll fill them in with black. Whether I use black UV resin or whether I use 2-part epoxy, I haven't figured out yet. It might be best to use the 2-part epoxy. And I was almost thinking, so I made 100 mils of this stuff, and I warmed it up twice, the resin, before I mixed it. The one thing I'm finding with the Bond Crafter, I feel like I have to mix it longer than other brands. Usually when I mix the other brands, when you stop seeing the striations, you know that you can, you know, go ahead and carry on with it. But with their stuff, I find that I have to mix it longer, which I'm not sure of why that is. So the first part of this video, I used the magic resin because I had enough to do the black with it. And then this is using the Bond Crafter resin. And this sat overnight. So this has had, my black has had, I don't know, let's say, well, at least 12 hours, maybe 16 hours of cure time. And I had mentioned that I wanted it, I figured I wasn't going to get back to it in, you know, any earlier than that. All right. All right, so that's done. We won't, we'll leave those over there to just sit and do what they need to do. Do I have a cup? Not big enough, so forget that. So I'm trying to figure out which one I want to pour first, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to rearrange my table here a little bit. All right, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to push that off to the side. Are we going to be able to see if I do it this way? I want to do this funky one first, so I've kind of got to move stuff about so you can see. You ever have games that you play where you've got to move pieces around in order to get Tetris is one, Bejeweled Blitz. I do Facebook, and that's one of the games I play on Facebook is Bejeweled Blitz, and you have to match things up. I feel like I'm doing that. with this. All right, so I'm just going to let the rest of that just go off over here on this side. And then we'll just easy peasy pour this. Now again, I mixed this by hand. I did not use my mixer and I did not use my debubbler. I will do a video on the debubbler because I think it's important for you to know what I think of it, how it works. But I just, with some of these pieces, it's so much easier for me just to carry on and do it by hand. So get this. That's done. And I'll probably go through this as well and do my zigzagging around with my dotting tool. Now we've got this covered, so I mean I could always end here and then put more of this resin in something else, right? Now the one thing I'm going to have to watch for is if I'm not going to be able to put this back on top of it because it's not, I'm going to end up getting on the lid. So you're going to want to be careful if you do something like that. And one of my smart moves this morning would have been to have gotten, excuse me, one of my other containers to put over top of this. So always have that in mind so you can get as little dust in things as possible. So I'm going to let that sit for a few minutes and then I'll come back to it. So I think what we're going to have to do, I've got resin on the side of my container. It's sticking to my mitten. Okay, so we're going to have to, did I get it on there? Yep, of course I did. So let me do this. I don't think I have enough to do that oval one, so I think I'm going to have to make some of the resin for my oval one off camera. Move my bottles back. So we'll just put that there for now. Let's do the round one next, and let's cover up this oval one so it doesn't get the dust in it. And I don't have to worry about the paper towel because of the fact that the resin will be hard. So yeah, you can see that. I'll pour it with my, yeah, let me get this out of the way. Nope, hold on a second. Remember this from yesterday. Where is my tape? I have a small little piece of black or something. I have to remember that with my one thing. This was the one that I had issues with going around it. So let me just check the sides because I really don't want black on the gold. I think we'll be okay though. All right. So hopefully I've got enough. It's one of those things I don't really want to have to make up more to go in one of these. Just because of the color I've got going on. Matching that'll be impossible to do, so we won't, hopefully. We did good. We got 2 of them filled. This one isn't quite full, but it is full enough for me. I'm content with it being where it is. So what I'll end up doing is I'll go off camera and I'll mix up more resin for the other 2, and then I will bring you back when it's time to take them out of their molds. And we'll see how they turned out. See how the interesting, well, gold and black go together. So I shouldn't say the interesting combination, more the look of them is what's you know, going to be of interest to me. So yeah, so we'll do as I have done before. We'll take my dotting tool, and then I'm just going to sort of move this about so that there's not a, you know, if it pulls in and gets rid of my design, I don't care. I just want to make sure that we've got something other than the rings that were happening with that. So like that off of there, and then what we can do for this is we'll put this back on here, and then we'll carefully go through this one, and the dotting tools are actually a good idea because then you're not going to scratch your mold. So they are a good idea. All right. So there's that one done. Oops. These things fall over. Okay. I am going to clean up, make some more resin. And then, yeah, we'll be back when it's time to take these out of the mold. And hopefully if there's anything that goes awry, which shouldn't, I can share that with you when we get back. I'll see you then. We are ready to carry on with these. Now, how did I work this? So we'd seen me do some of these. I had to make extra for this one, and I still didn't quite get enough, and I made, so I had leftovers from my oval. I put it into the square, and I didn't have enough, so I knew I had to make some more. I made an extra 60 mils for it, and it actually still wasn't enough. I probably needed about 80 mils to finish this up. So overall, the gold in that one, 100 mils maybe for the gold in that one. And how much did I make? Oh, I wish I could remember how much I made for that. 80, 60. So I probably used about 100 in this. Really should have tracked that. But you know me by now. I'm not, yes, never mind. We won't talk about what I forget to do most of the time. So let's get these out of the molds and see how they look. We'll do the paws last. The cute though, I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to potentially filling them in with black or something shiny. All right. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to say this, and I wish I hadn't done it, because when I did it on the square one, I thought, oh, I wish I hadn't done that. So I had gone through, as you saw, and did some swirlies to mix it up. I'm wishing I had not gone on the bottom, like I hadn't gotten down to the silicone. So beware of that, that if you're going to do that, like I do it because I don't want, and maybe I don't need to concern myself that, you know, with the way the resin works, it just pulls itself into the middle. So stop doing that kind of stuff. I wish now I hadn't have done it, because I don't know if you can see, but it looks like I've scratched the bottom of this. So that, yeah, that's, don't, unless you want to see that, and I don't know if you are, don't. As I say, learn from my mistakes. All right, so that turned out nicely. And what I did, it was funny because I had sort of done that with this one, with the very thin layer I had in there, and I actually ended up tipping it all the way around so that I wouldn't get that. So that's pretty. I like how that turned out. Yes, I do have a few air bubbles on the sides of this, and I'm having to guess that's where I have started pouring again. So I'm trying to think of how I can avoid that in the future. So when you saw me pouring, you know, I'd start, let's say here, and I'd work my way down, and then I'd, you know, stop it and I'd turn it and I'd start again. And I'm thinking that where I'm starting it again, that's where I'm getting these air bubbles happening. I'm trying to think of how we can avoid that, because I had it with my, the dog dish I had made like this one. It was the same idea that happened between the black and the white. So I'm wondering if there's some way to avoid that from happening. Having a really steady hand, and maybe something to do is to put these on one of the Lazy Susans and get, you know, just as you're pouring it, get it, you know, moving around so that you don't have it stopping and starting like that. So that's an option. Okay, well, I'm glad that turned out. Okay, so we can still see, you can see it in this one, but it doesn't look as jarry as this one. Now, this is a matte mold, I'm noticing, this round one. And if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the mixed to mold pieces that I got. So that would kind of explain why it's in a matte. This one, I'm trying to think if I got this in a mixed to mold or if I just bought it somehow else. I don't remember. Anyway, yes, it's scratched, but it's not as bad. And if I put lettering on that, that's really going to take, like, it's going to not that, make it that, you know, noticeable. And if I put vinyl in these, I am going to be putting a very thin layer of 2-part epoxy over top of it to seal it in. Yeah, that one, I'm glad that one isn't as noticeable as that one. And this one, maybe once I get it in, like get a thin coat of resin in there, it won't be as noticeable. So let's hope this one is okay, because this one I want to be okay. Ah, sweet deal. Yes. Alrighty. So that turned out nicely. Now again, yeah, see, so I do have, they're the pinholes. And I truly believe it's because where I am joining the resin, that's what's causing that. Whether or not going around with either the dotting tool or something else that's, you know, not going to scratch the mold, and doing that, you know, maybe once I start pouring it in and do that, that might help alleviate the problem. But just something to be aware of when you're doing this. So this turned out, I'm pleased with this. I don't see any... It's like this black one. Yeah, this black one. Way to go, eh? Like the square one, it has a nice balm. Now the colorings, this doesn't have near the glitter in it that this one does. But that's okay. That's okay, that's okay, that's okay. So, yeah, something to keep in mind if you're going to do the sort of swirly, that you don't go right down. Because I knew I was touching the mold when I was doing that. Yes, I absolutely do know I was doing that. Yeah, I'm thinking that where it's, you know, I'm picking it up and moving it and then starting again, that's where I'm getting those air bubbles. Now let's take our paws out. We have to fill those in. So do I have... Not enough black on anything. Let me get. Okay. Now, whether I fill that up with UV resin and I have black glass, very sort of like a sand size stuff over there, I'll have to look. And I'll do this. We'll do this here in this video. Yeah, I'm not paying attention. I'm just looking over at what I've got. So I'll figure out what I want to use. But I definitely feel those need to be filled in. You may not. And that's totally cool. But I think they need something. And I could use, I've got black UV resin, so I could use that. Yeah, those are cute. I like those. So yeah, we're going to have to finish those up. So I am going to wander off now that we've got all of these pieces out. I'm going to give some consideration to what kind of wording I want to put into them. Whether I do that in this video or not, that's sort of up for grabs. We will finish off the paw earrings in this video because I'd like to do that. Yeah, so let me go wander off and then I'll come back. And in the comments below, let me know which one you like the best of the 4 of them that I did. I'm glad I did 4. I wasn't really thinking about doing all 4 of them, but I like that I did it. And I like that it's the gold and black on the side. I think that really adds to it. Now, I did have one idea to bling these up a little bit, and it may work better. So let me, not with this particular color. Okay, a long time ago I showed you I had bought these. I have it in gold too. What about blinging up the top of these? If I can, let me undo this a bit. I mean, it's kind of cool if I could bling it up and get it on there properly, though that's going to be the big thing for me. If it's off even a little bit, if I put that on, that'll drive me a little crazy. With the square, it would be easy because I could go right up against the edge of this. Now, I am noticing a little bit with this, a bit of a pattern sort of happening on here. So it could be something within the mold. So I might, I mean, it's all the way around, which is kind of good. So if I didn't, but I might put UV resin around these, or even 2-part epoxy. So yeah, jumping around, I had thought about doing something like this on these. What might be fun, putting this aside carefully on there, is when I get these done, is putting this on the side. That might be kind of cool, just to jazz them up a little bit. I know they're paws, but that might be kind of fun, just to jazz them up. And that would be easy enough that if I didn't get it, you know, right in the center, it wouldn't be a big deal. And hopefully, again, you can see that. I think that'd look kind of cool if we did that. I'm not sure I would want it on top, but let's just see. Yeah, I'm not thinking on, yeah, that's not going to work. But I could see doing it along the sides. I think that'd be cool. Anyway, okay. I shall carry on and make some decisions, and then I'll be back. Okay, I am back. I was trying to do and come up with some ideas for some of the wording I wanted to put on my trays, but I want to get it just right. So in order to get this video up in time, I am going to sort of put the trays aside for now. But we're going to come back to the dog ears, and I think I'm going to have to go to my pink gloves. I want to wear my gloves because I'm working with UV resin, but those are those aren't tight enough on my hands because I want to get some, you know, just be able to handle things better as I try not to get my glove right in front of the camera. I don't know if I did or not. Anyway, what are we going to do? Well, first off, I got out the Let's Resin tape, and I have taped these down onto my table. Now, you may be wondering why I've got the masking tape down here. The reason for that is because the one side was rolling, so I didn't have these down flat. So the masking tape is just being used to hold them in place, which means that I am going to be using my lamp that I got from Magic Resin just to get these set up, and then when it's time I'll take them and put them under my Let's Resin so we can get them set up both ways. I decided I was going to have a little bit of fun with these guys. I am wanting to use this Platinum Glitter by Recollections in this part. Let me get something to point. You know how I like pointing at things. So I'm going to put that in here on these two. And because these are so small, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use black crushed, I do think that is a glass. And I'm also going to add a little bit of this glitter that was used in the trays. The other thing I want to do is I got out my gold chain that I picked up at Michael's, and I do want to put this around the outside. It actually looks pretty nice, and I think it'll just, you know what, as much as these are resin earrings, I like the idea of adding some bling to them, so that's what we're going to do. I have the Jdiction UV resin, which we'll use for the silver and the black. And then we will work on adding the bling on the side with using the Let's Resin UV bonding. They call it a glue. I don't really know the difference, but anyways, we're going to use that when it comes to that. Now I'm thinking, as I was trying to wrap this around the sides, where you can imagine how slippery that is on the resin, like it just slides. So I think what we might have to do is either I'm going to have to be really good holding this in place for the very first, you know, sort of drop of glue, which, because the stuff bonds so quickly, that might be doable. Or I had almost thought about taking a piece of tape and just getting, you know, wrapping this around part of the side of it and then taping it down. So we'll have to see on that. So let's get going with this. I like the idea of that platinum. I don't know, I want something that's really shiny and glittery, and silver and gold go together. And I guess I really should have something else out. Oh, I know what I can do with this if I have too much. And we're going to do this sort of in little bits and pieces. And I may dome these when all is said and done. I haven't decided on that yet either. And the reason I'm not putting the silver in all of these is because the pieces in here, some of them are a little too big. And I won't mind either if we have a little bit of that you can see through. Like we may not, just because these, again, it's really small. But now, what do I want to use to mix these? I guess just this. It's so pretty. I think this, like, why I like this so much is because it's got so much glitter to it. And I just imagine the sun or a light catching it. So that's what I want to do. And then I was thinking to myself, so Natalie, what if you don't like it? And I went, oh, just make another set. You know, it's kind of interesting. I sometimes make things and think, oh, I don't really want to have to make again. However, but I can. That's the beautiful part about it. You know, I have the ability to make another set if, for whatever reason, this doesn't turn out. Or another idea jumps into my head. But I will admit, I'm a bit of, I like glitter. I like things that glitter. All right. So I'm going to very carefully, like I almost wish I had, I know what I'll use. I was going to say, I want something that I can easily get that into and let it set down a little bit. So we'll use this. And actually I am going to put on my closer up glasses for this. And hopefully, I'm hoping my head doesn't get into this picture. And then we'll work on letting it sort of set itself down. I don't want it too thick. I know I had thought about putting UV resin in here, like a colored UV resin. And I can always do that if I go to make another pair of these. So I'll just leave that there. I won't put any more. I'll let that sort of set itself down. And did I say I was thinking of doming these? Well, if I didn't say I am thinking about it, if I did say it, well, I guess I really want to dome it if I'm talking about doing it and mentioned it twice now. All right. Let's wipe that end off. That's so pretty. That glitter is, I have to admit, there's some really pretty glitters out there. Okay, let's just get this back into the corner here. This is another moment when I wish I had this down on a tray or something that I could turn around so I can see that I'm getting everything where I need it to go. but I haven't done that, and it's too late now. I don't know about you. Some days I think of absolutely everything that I need to do, and other days I just like miss the boat. It's like, oh, that would have been a good idea. Put a little bit more in. I'm kind of thinking I want to do a video at some point where we back things with another color, like a solid color of some sort. People usually use black or white to back, and I'm thinking like the chameleon powders or the holographic ones. Like people are usually using black or white, and I actually want to do a video where we use like all kinds of different colors, not just black and white, just to see how they look, because I think every color will give sort of a different and unique feel, as opposed to just, okay, we've got to do it black or we've got to do it white, because I don't think we do. Anyway, I thought that might be something to try at some point. Do something like earrings. And then I was looking through my stash of things I've got and saw some earring and pendants. Like I'm looking at these going, oh, I really need to do something like this online for you guys. So I'll have to get some ideas going in my head. All right. So let's set that up. Oops. And we'll do it. I think that's for what, 30 seconds? 30, 60, 90, I think that's how their light goes. And I should moving that away from the light and covering it with my hands. I have nothing interesting to talk to you about now, that's why I'm just being quiet. And when I go to put these under the Let's Resin light, well, I'll be off camera doing that. Just because I'll put them under there for about 5 minutes, because I want to make sure this is set. Okay, good. It's nice and hard. Get that out of my way. Or I should put more point, get it out of your way. Oh, I think these are going to look nice, guys. So it's almost up to the top. I find that with the UV resin, it seems to, like, it sinks in the center. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that when working with it. Or maybe I just don't have a complete bead. I don't use UV resin a lot. In my videos, I use it sparingly. I don't use it all the time. I just want to make sure. I don't want that, unless it's this side-eye dome. I didn't want too much. I think I've got too much in this one. I'd like it to be just level, so if I dome it, I don't have to deal with it not being level with this. So that's why I'm taking some of this out, hoping just to get really the UV resin and not the glitter and whatnot. Yeah, I think that's much better. Okay, put that over there. Yeah, go over that. Just not sure it really needs my lighter, but we'll go over it anyway. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix up a little bit of the black so we can get them both going. And then not, yeah, I think these are going to look cute. Okay, I doubt I'm going to even need that much. And this spoon that I use, I always wipe it off before I do another color or glitter or anything like that, so I'm not contaminating things. Glitter. I definitely have a lot of glitter in that, for sure. Yeah. Probably have more glitter in that than I do the actual rocks or glass. Let's take some more and sprinkle those in. So we have a sort of somewhat of an even combination of it. Not that it matters. Okay. Let's wipe that off so I don't get those in there. There we go. Okay. Switching glasses. And here's to these are tiny little holes. That's why I really didn't feel comfortable putting the other glitter in here. And I think what I might have to do for the ones on the ends is get one of my toothpicks, because I think this is going to be a little too big and I really don't want to miss my mark. I made way too much of this stuff, but that's okay. I've got a mold off to the side that we can use. Trying to be really careful because I don't care if I get it up this inside of this. I just don't want to end up with any on the outside of this. And hopefully I haven't put too much in it that it doesn't set up. But that's why I'll put it under my Let's resin lamp, so I can get a shot from either side. Okay, just that there. And really, I have my window behind me, the shades up quite a bit. I should really have my other UV covered because I know it'll start to set up. So all I'm doing now is I'm just going down inside it to sort of make sure that this is all set to the bottom, that I haven't got any air bubbles trapped in it. And then we'll set this up. Put a little bit more in that one. And then we'll put some more in and get them filled up. So I'm just going to put stuff off to the side. Bear with me a minute, I gotta get somewhat of too much going on. Okay, let's get these covered up so that they don't. All right, let's do this. I think after this I will carry on and get the rest of this done. And then I will come back and we will work at putting the chain around the outside, just so you can see how I can do it, and just so that you get to see, in case it's a bit tricky, how best to maybe avoid having an issue with that. So actually this goes 60, 90, and 150. I didn't know whether it was 30 or 60, but there you have it. Okay. Yep, so they set up. Okay, I'm going to let you go once I've got this all done. I'll bring it back and we will work on the chain. All right, I am ready to carry on. Now, one thing, we're going to do this, hopefully if I can keep this the way I've got it now, I can put a little drop. Now, what I should have done and I haven't done, but I'm going to do right now, and you'll notice, yes, I've taken off one of my gloves because I need to be able to manage this better. So we're going to be very careful doing this without a glove on my one hand. I'm going to put a little bit of this in here, and I'll show you the paw in a moment once we get this on. And you know what I need? Oh, what I don't have, but I need to get one of my cutters to cut this when we get where we get to it, right? Because I can't just tear this, I'm gonna have to clip it. So maybe I can use those. Just give me each over. These might work. I have to see. So let's do this. I'm gonna see how talented I am. Alrighty, and then I have a tip for you. So I want this to be as center as I can get it. Get it up there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our little, get everything coordinated, right, as best I can. Alright, we're going to take a little bit of this, which is our bonding glue, if you will, and I am just going to see how I can, yeah, okay, and I'm in camera, right? You can see what I'm doing, hopefully. I am just going to take this off to the side just for a minute. And I'm just going to draw a bit of a line. So hopefully you can. Now, I'm wondering if, see, I wanted to kind of do it in, I'm making a mess now because everything's rolling around. Let me get that drip cleaned up first. Well, maybe we'll be okay. So, well, we're going to find out, aren't we? We're going to find out together how best to do this. So let's put that down. Now, I had seen someone else do this. I don't want to put that in the wrong direction. Give me a second. Okay. So hopefully this will bond it. And then we can go from there. I had seen someone else do, they were making brads. And if you're not familiar with what brads are, is they're something that you can use when you're making cards, and you can poke a hole and then they are put through the hole. I'm not explaining this very well. Anyways, they were making brads and they were using this bonding glue, but I wasn't figuring out how they were actually, that the piece was bonding, because they were solid pieces and they were putting it on a UV lamp and it actually cured them in place, which really surprised me. So hopefully this will do the same thing with this. And I think where I would put more would be when I get to each of the ends. So let me lift this up and see. Yeah, bonded it. It's on there. Okay, so that just made our lives easier. So what we'll do is we'll keep on keeping on. Very carefully just putting this down. I don't think it'll be a big deal if not every one of them has the glue on it. I should have pushed that down. And I want, yeah, I have a tip for you based on what I was doing. I'll throw these under the UV light again, just so that it gets it sort of from all angles. And I might even reinforce it a little bit somehow. Yeah, I don't know how that somehow is going to be, but you know, we're holding on, which is brilliant. Okay. Just want to make sure that I'm not too far out of your sight line, and I can't reverse this and do this with my left hand. I'll never get it straight if I try. Maybe I should start using my left hand to do some things as well, so that when I'm videotaping, I don't, you know, I'm not getting in the way of things. Let's come back up here. Just gonna do this a little differently, and that works. And I'm not putting on a whole lot of this stuff because I don't think I need to. I do need more of it now, but and you know, the nice thing when you're using something like this is that you've got more than a second to work with it. That's what I wanted to do. Be a little finicky, eh? Especially when you're like me and you want to get it in the right spot. So what do you think so far? Kind of a blingy, kind of dog paw earring. Okay, I need some more of this. See if I can't get a little bit more done in one go. That should be more than enough now. And you could probably use a pin to do this also. Depending on how, like, you're not gonna, like, that's the, I guess the nice thing about this is, like, people aren't gonna notice this on it. I mean, you'd have to be right up close to somebody to be able to see that bonding glue. Gee, I almost could have just made the video about this, eh? From trays to earrings in one fell swoop, eh? And you know what, as much as I bought these at Michael's, this chain that I'm working with, and I can't remember how much I paid for it. I bought it quite a while ago, but you know, the really nice thing is it looks expensive. I mean, I know Michael's is an expensive store. I get that. But at the same time, I mean, you can dress up a piece of something so easily, and it doesn't cost you a lot to do. And it, you know, you've got pieces like this that become conversation pieces, and that's what I love. Because I'm all about having conversation pieces. You know, something that gets a person's attention and you create a conversation with them. So something to think about when you're making your pieces. Again, I mean, if that's not your thing, I get it. I get it. Now, I'm just wondering, I think I need to figure out approximately where I need to go with this, because what I might do is cut it. I think if I do that one, yeah, I think that's where I want to go. So let me just quickly cut this. Hopefully I can. Perfect. Cut my glove, cut the, whatchamacallit. Ooh, that's just right, people. Now what I didn't do, so hopefully I can get it in there, but we'll deal with that in a moment. Right. Right. Gotta wonder in the next year or two what they're going to come out with in regards to resin and whatnot. So I hope you've been able to see everything I've been doing well enough that if you wanted to do this yourself, you'd be able to. Okay, so now all we have to do is get that one on the top. Get it out of the way. So this is where a toothpick is going to come in very handy for you. So we'll just touch that up there. I've got it on the underside of that as well, so that'll be good. Yeah, it's not, you know, there's a bit of a gap here, but that's okay. In one spot, but not the other. Okay. I'm not going to make you go through watching me do the next one. But I think what I will do is I'm going to I'm going to get this one done, so you can see it, and then I'll do the other one offline. All right. Okay, so this is where we're at. So we've got that around the sides now. Again, I'll put it under my UV lamp. Okay, so that's what one side looks like. That's what the other side looks like. I think I'm going to end up doming both sides of them. My tip. So I took the one paw off of this tape, and I noticed it pulled away some of the UV resin that was underneath because it hadn't been cured on that side. So the second one, I left it on here and I cured it. So my recommendation is that if you're going to be using these to do something like this, and it's a piece that you can flip from either side to cure, that you leave it on the tape until you've cured it and then take the tape off. Don't do it the way I did it, because it kind of messed up my paws a little bit in here, but that's okay. When I dome it, it's not going to make much of a difference. Just a tip for you, okay? So I am going to dome this one. I'm probably going to find some of my earring thingies, but this is where we're at. I think this looks kind of cool. So I'm glad I was able to actually sort of finish something up with you versus not, but I think it looks kind of cool. Maybe not your thing, but that's okay. So I'll be back when I got things done. See you then. I am ready to finish this video up. Again, as I mentioned about the trays, I have some work to do on what I want to put inside of these. So, because I don't know what that is, and that usually takes me a little bit of time, we're going to end there. But I think the trays turned out really well. I moved two of them off my table here. But overall, I like how they turned out. I like how they turned out. And as we've discussed, you know, where I've got these air bubbles, I truly believe that it's because of, you know, we started and then we started again. And I think that's what's causing it. I'm going to have to test that theory out to see if I'm correct on that. Anyways, I think overall they turned out really pretty. I did make a couple of extra little pieces with the leftover UV resin I had. Now, I think I've mentioned this before in my videos, but I always sort of find with UV resin that you tend to get little dips in it, and I'm not sure why that is. But on the top, I usually feel like I've got divots in it. And I mean, that's easily fixed by putting more UV resin on it or a 2-part epoxy. But I thought those might make cute little stud earrings, or in something. I don't know yet. I've had a lot of fun with this video, obviously, and towards the end, it got really cool. Anyway, here are my dog paw earrings. I love how these turned out. I love the bling on the side of them. I love the fact that I have topped them up with UV resin to finish them off. Again, is 2-part epoxy better? Sometimes I think yes. So let me sort of tell you why I'm a little more appreciating the 2-part epoxy versus UV. I think I do like using UV resin. I have found, though, that even though it's cured, I got my fingerprints on these. You can't see it. I noticed it when I was putting in my jump ring. So that's something to be careful of. I know someone had mentioned in a video, no, it wasn't a video, it was on a Facebook group I'm part of, that someone had gotten fingerprints on it, and I believe it was fingerprints, and I believe they said that a window cleaner would take those out. So I'm going to let these set up a little bit more. I put them under my Let's Resin lamp for 5 minutes, both sides, to cure them up. So technically, I mean, the UV resin is hard. I'm just going to end up letting them set up a little bit more, just because. Now, I'm hoping that I can get out the fingerprints on them. I love how these turned out. I think they look so cool. Now, the one thing that I have an issue with is I think my earlobes don't hang properly, because it doesn't matter what I do when I make my own earrings. They never hang straight on my head. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. I mean, I notice it because I need things just to be a set way, but others may not think twice about it. The other thing I want to mention to you is that when I was doing the UV, and I think it's this one. Is this one with the dip in it? No, it's not this one. Maybe it's this one. Yeah. So I try and be really, really careful when I'm putting UV resin on anything, so I get it in everywhere it needs to go. Now, I have a bit of a dip in this one where either I didn't get UV resin or I didn't get enough of it. Let me get that piece of whatever that is off of you. Get off. Hold on a second. Okay. Anyway, where this silver is, there's a little bit of a dip, so I've just turned the earring around, but pay attention to that when you're doing something like that. And that's where I think when we're dealing with UV resin, I just feel like it sort of gets divots in it for whatever reason, but I didn't do that. So I just flipped this around so that when it hangs, it's this side that's hanging. And again, I noticed it because of the angle I had things on, but you know, maybe someone else might not. But anyway, I love how these turned out. And I used a black jump ring and a gold, I don't know what that thing's called. Anyways, I used one of them, so black and gold, because if you know, it goes with the earring. Anyway, I'll stop talking about them. They're done. I think they look super cool. I think adding the UV resin really makes these pop, and I love the fact that I did them the way I did them. So this gives you an idea. You can add the bling to the side or not add the bling to the side. I like it. I think it just adds a little bit. And again, a light or the sun will catch that and just make it pop a little bit more. But again, you do you. I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's a little, I'm not going to say it. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've, you know, gotten some tips and tricks out of this. Yeah. That's all I've got. I thank you for watching, spending some time with me, and allowing me to bring this video to an interesting conclusion, because really the earrings weren't supposed to be the main attraction here, but apparently they are at the end of the video. So have a great creative day, whatever you get up to, and know that when you come up with an idea for something, take it to the end. Get it where it needs to go, because I wasn't expecting these earrings to turn out, and I wasn't expecting them to sort of steal the show at the end, but they obviously have. Have a great day. Be creative. Thank you for coming along for the ride. Like, subscribe, check out my Being Intentionally Creative Facebook page, and we will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye for now.